Friends, Jordan Montgomery here, and we're glad that you've tuned into another episode of the Growth Over Goals podcast. Before we jump into today's conversation, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Thompson & Co. Salon and Parlor. Thompson & Co. Salon and Parlor is a family-owned, stylist-owned community salon that fits the needs for all types of families. Located in downtown Iowa City and now a second location in Coralville, North Liberty area, TCO specializes in all things hair. In fact, that's where I've been getting my hair done for the last 7 years. TCO specializes in hair cutting, razor cutting, the most modern color techniques, and high-end hair extensions. As one of Iowa's only inner coiffure salons and Salon Today's top 200 salons in the U.S., TCO looks forward to being the salon of choice for you and those you love. Be sure to call or book on their website today at thompsonandcosalon.com. Thank you, TCO, for all you do for us and our community. Welcome back to another episode of Growth Over Goals. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and today we're doing something a little bit unique. Some of you might know we have a new book coming out in July, release date July 24th. You can order the book now at theartoфencouragementbook.com. The title is The Art of Encouragement. The foreword was done by John Maxwell. We're excited about this book. There's 10 arts in the book. We want to help you become a more encouraging, more effective leader of people. I think so often we think about encouragement as a subject of either do or don't. I am an encourager or I'm not an encourager. I do encourage my people or I don't encourage my people. The reality is there's an art to it. There's an art and a science to becoming a great encourager of people. I'm in this fight with you. I am working hard each and every day to become a better encourager for our clients, our friends, my family. I want to be the best encourager I can be. I think encouragement is a universal language that we all speak, and it addresses the most important psychological and social need that we have as humans, which is the need to feel known, seen, and valued. We all want to belong to something. I think if we encourage people well, it helps other people feel like they belong to a family, to a community, to a workplace. Today, we're letting you in on a conversation I recently had with Jon Gordon, my dear friend. This is a conversation we actually had on his podcast. Go check out the Jon Gordon Show. Had a great conversation with Jon. He's asking me the questions as we discuss the art of encouragement, the new book, all things leadership and personal development. I want to give my friend Jon Gordon a shout out for allowing me to be on his podcast, for inviting me into that opportunity. Jon, you're a dear friend. You are one of the best encouragers I know. So excited to have your friendship. Thanks for listening in. Hope you enjoy this unique episode of Growth Over Goals. Here's the conversation with Jon Gordon on the art of encouragement.
Jordan, how you doing?
I'm well, man. Thank you for having me. Good to be with you, JG. We get to talk often, but not always in this format. So this is an honor.
Well, this is a lot of fun. We do talk often, but you are an incredible encourager, and you have a new book out called The Art of Encouragement. And I just want to ask you first off, when did you realize that encouragement was important for you to share with others, but also to receive from others?
Just been the benefit, the benefactor, beneficiary of encouragement. I've been through some tough seasons in my life, and I just remember, I can count the moments very specifically, who was there for me, what they said, what that meant to me. And so I've just seen it play out in my life, Jon. And I think it was probably you that gave me the advice that the best, most important book that you write is the one that you live. And I've lived it. I've been broken. I know what it's meant to me when somebody put their arm around me, breathed life and encouragement into me. And so thought we'd share that experience with others.
When you don't feel like you want to encourage people, what do you do, Jordan, when you actually are not feeling very positive? Because there are days I get up. People are surprised to hear this, but there are days I get up, I'm not feeling very positive. And yet, when I do encourage others, I actually feel better. How do you motivate yourself? How do you encourage other people to be a source of encouragement when they're not feeling it?
I call my friend Jon Gordon, and he gets me right. No, the reality is, I think, and you know this, Jon, you got to get around other encouraging people. Your environment matters so much. I think more is caught than taught. John Maxwell said this the other day. He said, who you're mentored by is more important than anything they say. So I don't need you to tell me how to encourage. I just need to be around you because you are encouraging. And me spending time with people like you who have great energy, they see the glass half full. They're constantly trying to elevate others, see the good in others. it changes me. And so you've been one of those people that's really affected me in that type of a way. And I want to get around others who affect me the same way. So if you're not feeling positive, you're struggling to find a way to encourage other people, get around some of the best encouragers. And I think naturally you'll become better at it.
Who changed your life growing up when you were struggling? Like, who encouraged you?
There's a number of people who encourage me. My dad is a natural encourager. He's gifted at it. Sees the best in people. Put a 10 on my forehead even on the days where I was a 2. And he just helped me see a brighter future. You know, he was really a positive father. He didn't let me wallow in things. But more than anything, he pointed me to the Lord. You know, he took me to God's promises. He was a great example. And he just, he helped me see the blessing in all adversity. You know, I think about James 1, 2 and 3. You know, consider it pure joy when you go through trials of many kind. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. And so I think I was able to persevere because my dad helped me see even the trials as blessings.
What about a coach? Was there a coach along the way who encouraged you when you weren't playing well? I know you're an athlete. We haven't, competed yet against each other, but I do know you're an athlete. And so any coaches encouraged you during your journey?
Yeah, there's a number of them. I'll tell 2 quick stories. One was a coach named Jay Bickford. I was a young whippersnapper playing football in small town Iowa. I probably graduated 80 kids in my class, John. I was a $160 soaking wet. So, I was just very average athlete, but I played small town ball. So if you play small town ball and you're average, you can think you're well above average. And so I thought I was above average. And Coach Bickford was his name. He played football at the University of Iowa. So he's larger than life at the time. I mean, both literally and figuratively. He's a 300-pound offensive lineman. He's in his mid-20s. He's still in good shape. And he grabbed my face mask before every game. He'd say, Jordan, you're the best player on this field. And again, I was average. But he would tell me, you're the best player. And so I kind of bought into that. I started to believe that about myself. Those simple words really transformed the way I thought about myself, the way I thought about the game that was ahead of us. Final game of the season, sitting there warming up, my buddy Josh Berry, two guys over, he grabs Barry's face mask. He says, Josh, you're the best player on this field. and Josh actually was the best player on our team. But the point was, like, it's the power of small words. Like, you could take a 160-pound small town running back and the guy feels like he's Walter Payton because of what that person deposits. The other story that I always tell John, there was a person in my life, first time I talked to him, he said, hey, how old are you? So I gave him my age. This is a number of years ago. I gave him my age. He said, oh man, that's awesome. He said, listen, when you get to my age, you're gonna go way past me. I think you have the potential to go past me. I think you can do more and go farther and impact me. And I've literally known this guy for 5 minutes. And his name was Jon Gordon. So you, brother, have done that for me. And I used to have mentors that say, hey, find a mentor that you can't catch. You were the exact opposite. Like, I want you to go past me. I see more in you. You can be more. You could go farther. I'll never forget that conversation. I know exactly where I was standing. I know how I felt. Changed my life.
That's awesome because I felt it. I met you. I'm like, this young guy is just crushing it. And he's way beyond where I was when I was your age. I'm like, there is so much potential in what you could accomplish. And as you were telling that story, I'm like, that really sounds familiar. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I said it.
I did say that. well, and if I accomplish half of what you accomplished, I'd be, happy with the impact. So that was a real memorable, meaningful moment in my life.
I really believe we all have to have a caring trademark. And my caring trademark is to be an encourager. That's who I am. I was born to encourage. I know that's my greatest gift, my greatest strength. I really believe it's why I'm so thrilled you're writing this book, and this book is coming out. By the time people listen to this, your book will actually be out, The Art of Encouragement, because someone needed to write this book about encouragement. We all talk about encouragement, and yet there really hasn't been many books about encouragement. Like, why did you want to write a book about the art of encouragement? And the next follow-up question is it really an art? Is there an art to it?
Well, the answer to my first question is what you just asked me in the second question. I wanted to write a book about the art of encouragement, not just because I've witnessed the power of encouragement, but because I do believe just that it's an art. And too many times I think we talk about encouragement, like, hey, go encourage somebody. But we don't teach it. We don't coach it. We don't really talk about the science of encouragement or the art of encouragement. So in the book, there's 10 arts of encouragement. And they're all pretty simple. The good news is anybody can do them. Doesn't take any level of experience or smarts. It's really just about energy and effort. But there's some unique and specific ways that I think we can encourage people. And I think all of those ways work together. For some people it becomes really natural, and for others it's not as natural. But I'll give you one example, Jon, of where I think our society goes sideways when it comes to encouragement. We tend to praise the result. So we fall in love with somebody maybe based on their charisma instead of their character. We call it praising the who over the do. I want to focus more on who somebody is, their character, their traits, their qualities, instead of just focusing on the skill set, the result, the talent, or the ability. If I think back to the most encouraging moments in my life, or for our listeners, I'd ask them just, hey, think back to the most encouraging conversations in your life. Maybe a teacher, a coach, a mentor spoke something over you. Maybe it was a parent who spoke something over you when you were young. And I'd almost guarantee it had far less to do with something you accomplished, but it almost certainly had to do with who you were, who you are as a person. When you said to me, how old are you? And I asked me that question and we had that exchange.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 32 at the time. I'm 36 today. So that conversation would have been 4 years ago. You didn't get into like, well, you've accomplished this and you did that. And hey, congratulations on your big win and this podcast. It was nothing about that. You were like, hey, you have some abilities and you have some talent that God gave you. And I just see there's some qualities in you and you got a little bit specific about that. And this is my belief, Jon. If you praise someone for what they do, they might remember it. If you praise them for who they are, they'll never forget it. Those are the defining moments. Those are the conversations that I think really change people's lives, bringing them back to who God made them to be. This is your God-given giftedness. I want to remind you of it. I want you to see it. These qualities are in you, and I need you to know that. It's actually who you are that's allowing you to do what you.
How do you make sure that encouragement is genuine? Because you can say, good job, good job, good job all the time. If you're a coach, if you're a boss, how do you make sure that people know it's sincere and they feel it?
So this would be the final chapter in the book, The Art of Authentic Encouragement. We know when people are being authentic, and you're most effective when you're most authentic. I think so much of authenticity when it comes to encouragement has to do with specificity. Again, we live in a culture where we're so quick to say, atta baby, great job, well done, good win. I'm impressed with you, great speech. I love your book. Well, I want to get specific with people. It's not good enough just to say, good job. Why did they do a good job? Hey, I thought you had a great talk, Jon. You gave a great speech at this event. Here's 3 things that I picked up on. Here's 3 things that you did really well. The way you tell stories, man, you're an unbelievable storyteller. Those 2 stories that you told, you killed it. Your tone. I don't know if you know, but the audience was so engaged with your message. And I think so much of that had to do with your tone and your pace. Like you were connecting. You weren't just communicating. Like adding a few sentences like that with some specificity makes the encouraging message so much more effective. It's like, hey, this is real. That's not just a proverbial fist pound or high five. Because how many times have we told somebody good job on something when we didn't even think it was a good job? We're all guilty of that. Somebody gives a speech, you go, hey, great speech. You didn't even mean it. And so again, I think we just live in a world where we so flippantly say those things without adding some meat on the bone. Specificity makes the encouragement more authentic.
I'm from New York, so I try to be as real as possible.
You're very real.
Often am real. Sometimes I don't have a poker face, as my wife would say. I don't have one. Like if I don't think it's good, I'm going to say it. If I don't like the title of your book, I'm going to tell you. If I think it could be better written and you're going to ask me honestly, I'm going to tell you. Now, if you don't ask me, I'm not going to say anything. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. So don't you think we need that? Don't you think we need real feedback in combination with encouragement? Because again, they want to know that you're being real. If you're always encouraging, but you're never actually talking about what they're doing wrong or what they could do better, then you're really never helping someone grow if you're always sharing too much encouragement. Is that something that you think is important to talk about and share?
100%. Anybody that really believes in you, cares about you, I think has to prioritize your future over your feelings. You've done that for me. One of my first talks that I think you were present for, we had a short conversation. You probably don't even remember this, but it was really about humor in how you communicate. And you just made a couple small comments and it wasn't like critical. It was constructive, but you're like, hey, here's something to pay attention to. Here's something I would watch for next time, and Again, you're just so far ahead of me in the world of communication. Like, but when you share that, I'm like, man, that's gold. I need that. But it does make your positivity more authentic to me, because I know you're not just always being Pollyanna positive, as you call it. You're not just always being positive for the sake of being positive. It's like, no, I know Jon knows how to be real. I got on this podcast 5 minutes late because we had a technology issue. And so we don't have to have this conversation later. One of the things you might say to me is, hey, you should have been 5 minutes early and started, working on this earlier, Jordan. This is a moment. This conversation matters. So you've been very candid with me over the years, which is part of the reason I receive your encouragement and positivity so well.
That's awesome. The word encourage means to put courage into. So when you're encouraging someone, you put encourage into them. And when you encourage yourself, you're putting courage into yourself. We often think about encouraging others, but how important is it to making sure that we're encouraging ourselves and depositing that courage into us? And do you really believe that encouragement gives people courage?
I do. And you could have written this book. I think you kind of did write this book because you've influenced me in so many ways. And you're the one that always says, don't listen to yourself, speak to yourself.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that words create worlds, and this internal narrative that we have, the way that we speak to ourselves, dictates so much of our reality. So yeah, I think self-encouragement, the art of self-encouragement, is one of the chapters in the book. And I talk about this story. I was living in Minnesota. I had just gotten fired from a job, had to move north, didn't know anybody in the city. I moved into this little apartment. I'm in my late 20s. It was a really difficult time in my life. My dad comes up to visit me for the weekend, and he's getting ready to leave. It's Sunday afternoon. And I could feel the negativity start to set in, like the reality of my situation. My dad's going to leave. We just had this great weekend. He was kind of a comforting, source in a really difficult time. I said, Dad, you're going to walk out that door and I'm going to struggle. He said, well, here's what you're going to learn to do. You're going to learn to encourage yourself. God's omnipresent. He's with you all the time. But we're going to set up a war room. And I need you to get some notes. I had some Post-it notes laying in my apartment. So I need you to get some notes, something to write with, get a pen, Post-it note. And literally, Jon, in my apartment, downtown Minneapolis, I started putting Post-it notes of God's scripture, God's promises, all over my apartment. Like on my bathroom mirror, I put it on my nightstand. I put it on the door of the apartment. So when I walk in and out, I would see the scripture. I started doing it in my office. I was just surrounded by God's promises. And it became part of my environment. Our friend Ed Milet says this: the mental game gets so much attention, but it's actually the environmental game that drives the mental game. So if you want to get good at encouraging yourself, I think learning to create your own environment, being really, really mindful of what you choose to look at, the people, places, and things that you focus on and study. I think all of that is a part of encouraging yourself. Look at your environment. I mean, if our listeners aren't watching this, but maybe there's listening to this, you've got all of these books that you've written, positive titles, reminders for you of all the great work that God's done through you and your environment. I think people who are good at encouraging others are also really good at encouraging themselves.
Give us a takeaway. What can someone start to do today to encourage others more? Give them a real strategy. Like, they're not a natural encourager. They don't do this a lot. They want to be better at this. They want to make a difference. What can they do right now with the people in their lives?
I think before you can point out the good, you have to see the good. And seeing the good is a choice. And then pointing out the good is also a choice. But I love when I speak to a group, Jon, and we talk about encouragement, and I always look at the older men in the room, because this is, maybe they're the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, and I especially like if I'm East Coast, or maybe I'm speaking to a more introverted group, like a group of engineers. And I just kind of know there's a group of people in the room that is not on board with this message, right? And what they're thinking, I actually start to give them some language, and I'll give some examples of stuff that I say. And I'll say, hey, what I know is there's some people in this room who are thinking, that is not my style. I don't talk like that. You're from Long Island, New York. It'd be easy for a Long Islander to say, that's not me.
Right, how you doing?
That's not me. Yeah, that's not my style. Who is this kid? Get him out of here. That's not my style. Okay, but here's what I tell them. I say, hey, look, if you knew that today was going to be the last time you saw one of your colleagues, do you think you'd have it in you to say something kind, to see something kind in that person, and then to point it out? Or if it was the last time you were going to see a friend, do you think you'd have the ability to see something in them and then point it out? Well, it's a rhetorical question. We all know the answer to it. The answer is yes. But that answer, I believe, is evidence that encouragement is really a choice. It's not a style. In other words, we all have the ability to encourage. We all have the ability to love because God first loved us. So I really believe everybody can do this. And I think part of what we want to help people with is tapping into that and realizing that they already know in so many ways how to do this. They just got to go do it.
That is really good. That is powerful that you have to see it first. So start seeing it in people, and then it's easier to point it out. I think we can overlook the brilliance of that statement, because the more I look for it and I start to see it in you, that right there is awareness. That is looking for the good. And as you're doing that, that starts to change you. It changes them. It changes your relationship with them. You point it out. You make them feel better. Incredible. And I just said feel better. There's a science, you say, behind encouragement. Give us one research that shows that encouragement helps someone and makes them perform at a higher level.
Harvard Business Review released a study. They interviewed 4,000 recent college graduates, all of whom took a job when they graduated college, and then they quit within the first 12 months of graduating. So that's the one thing they had in common. They all had different backgrounds and they were in different industries, but they all took a job and they quit within 12 months of graduating from college. They asked this group of young people, why did you quit? What was the number one reason that you walked away from your job? And then they gave them a list of multiple choice answers. So was it lack of autonomy, lack of culture, lack of leadership, lack of pay? 79% of these 4,000 recent college graduates had the same leading answer as to why they quit their job. It was a lack of appreciation. And what they were saying was, I didn't feel known. I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel encouraged. And I think it's proof that like our most basic human need socially and relationally is the need to be known. We all want to belong to something. And so I love sharing that study with CEOs and COOs and executives, those who lead and recruit and hire, because if you're not building a culture of care and a culture of encouragement, you're not focused on the art of encouragement, I really do think over time you lose people. And unfortunately, the impact that you have doesn't go nearly as far. And Jon, you've devoted your life to that. I mean, I think you understand this at the highest level, and you've transformed thousands of companies and millions of people because you're helping them see how important culture and encouragement and helping people feel seen and known and valued truly is to the human spirit.
You said I could have written this book, and that is true. And it's a book that would have poured out of me. At the same time, I knew I would never write a book like this for some reason. I just knew it wasn't meant for me to write. And then when you came to me and said you were writing it, I thought, yes, perfect. And you are the perfect person to write this book. And this book is one that needs to be read by everyone in the world, because we all need encouragement and we need to know how to encourage. And we need just simple ways to do it. And we need the evidence that it works. And we just need all of the factors that make encouragement something that we include in the part of our lives, our careers, our work. As you said earlier, CEOs need to make sure that they're doing this and people in their organization do it, because you can spend a lot of money hiring and finding the right people. But if you're not encouraging them and you're not appreciating them, they're going to leave. I call it re-recruitment. You got to re-recruit the people who work for you. Don't just recruit new people. Make sure the people who work for you are your raving fans.
So good.
Do this with your wife, guys, men. You got to re-recruit your wife. Good. It's not just a one and done where you ask her to marry you and you're done after that. You know, you got to make sure you're recruiting her every week and letting her know how much you love her. Same thing, women for men, right? My wife always says the key is to make people feel wanted. You have to make people feel wanted. In relationships, let each other know that you want them. That's what we're all looking for. We want to be wanted.
So good.
And I think when you're encouraged by someone, they believe in you and lets them know, hey, I value you and there's something special about you and I see greatness in you. So this book is essential. It's not just a nice way to lead. It's not just a nice way to think. It really is the way to do things. Like if you really want to have success, start being an encourager. Don't be an Eeyore, right? Be an encourager. Some people don't even know who Eeyore is. Winnie the Pooh, right? The negative, whatever he was in Winnie the Pooh. But I haven't slept much, Jordan, so I can't even remember what yours was.
It's so good. Well, you're right though, because so you just tapped into, it's the art of consistent encouragement. And our friend Pat Lencioni, talks about this idea that people need to be reminded more than they need to be instructed. And I think part of the reason that people don't encourage as often as they should is they believe they did it once and that's good enough.
Right.
And I'll share this fun little exercise. If you are in the business of managing anyone, you coach, you lead, but especially if you recruit, there's this little exercise that we do in our coaching business, Jon. And it started as a silly little thing. I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue to do it. It's like, I don't even know if it's really having that kind of an impact, the impact that I want it to have. But we send these 5 questions. They're really simple. When I onboard a new coaching client, okay, I'll say, hey, I want to get to know you through the eyes of people that know you the best. So it's one thing for Jon to tell me about Jon. It's another thing if I get to reach out to Catherine and Jade, and Catherine and Jade tell me about Jon. If you were new to me, I would learn a whole different side of you by hearing from Catherine and Jade. So we send 5 non-invasive questions. And I'm not digging into your past and all kinds of fine detail, but they're 5 non-invasive questions. I tell these people, hey, I'm going to share this information with Jon. So full disclosure, you need to know that. I'd prefer not to get on a phone call. I want you to, not be put on the spot. So I'm going to email you or text you the questions. I'd say, hey, Jon, give Catherine and Jade a heads up that I'm going to be reaching out. Okay, great. They send the responses back, usually within about a week or 2. And then I get to read those responses to my coaching client. So if you were the coaching client, Jon, it's actually the opposite. You're my mentor. But if you were the coaching client, in this case, I would say to you, hey, Jon, I'm not just going to send you these answers. I want to read this to you because I think there's something about hearing an audible voice reminding you of who you are. And I don't want you to do anything with it. You just get to receive today. So you don't need to respond. You don't need to say anything. I'm just going to read this to you. And I want to speak this over you. And what I've found, Jon, is about 9 times out of 10, when I share the responses from these 2 people that know my client well, my client, 9 times out of 10, is highly emotional. Big NFL football players, rough, gruff guys, tough CEOs, people who've made it. And they're emotional. And all I did was share some information from their spouse or significant other or best friend that was shared with me. And it's just a reminder. Every time we do this, it's a reminder that we're not sharing it enough. Because if we were sharing that all the time, it wouldn't have this kind of emotional, we wouldn't have this kind of emotional response. So that's a really simple exercise that can go a long way in just creating an impression with someone. It also helps you get to know people. But the art of consistent encouragement, we got to be consistent in how we choose to show up for people. It's a daily thing. It's all that. You're so good at that, man. You've done that for me over and over and over again. And what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. And you've done this for me, in a really consistent way. So I appreciate that. Yeah,
it can't be a one and done. Out of the people that that you hang out with, who would you say are great encouragers in your world, in your life? You said I was an encourager, so minus me. Who do you think is a really good encourager that you know? Give him a shout out.
There are
who embodies your book?
So
who represents your book? Who embodies your book? You can shout out names right now.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do somebody. There's so many people listed in the book, and there's so many people that have meant something to me that aren't in the book, and so I'm gonna leave some people out. So, but right off the top, our mutual friend David Nurse, I think, has an amazing gift of encouragement. Thomas Williams, who works on your team, does a lot of work with you.
Can we talk about David? How he almost ruined our relationship, though, that we know that never got started.
Yeah, it's still a debate of whether it was Thomas or David who connected us, but I think T. Will.
But David almost ruined it because he tried to connect us, and then he said, he's a great guy. He's dynamic. You're gonna love him. He might be able to get you some really good speaking engagements.
Oh, that's right. I'm not looking for speaking engagements, David.
Do you think I need more speaking engagements? Like, what am I going to become friends so I get more speaking engagements? And he said, no, I just really can help you with that. I'm like, I don't need help with that. It was just very funny.
You teed that up the wrong way.
But David Nurse is a very great encourager. So David, we always give you a hard time in person. So I gotta just give you a hard time here.
Very gifted.
Thomas Williams, who else?
Mike O'Connell, OC, well. Chad Johnson, unbelievable encourager. I mean, these are guys that text me and you text me all the time. You called me yesterday. We talked for an hour. And you even said like 10 minutes in, you're like, actually, I don't know why I called you. And then you just continue to speak life and encourage.
And I forgot we were doing this podcast today. So when I called you, I had no idea we were even talking today.
It's great. But I just love that, man. I love the friends that call just because, and they want to just, love on you and fill you up and encourage, and just, you've always done that for me, man. So those are some guys in my life. Travis Kern's another friend that I grew up with. Dale Mulliken's a guy that disciples me, mentors me. Brad Lomenick's been a great coach and friend. I mean, there's so many people who have blessed me with the art of encouragement. And it's because of that I wanted to write this book. I feel like I know what it feels like to be loved and encouraged consistently and in a really authentic way.
Last question, Jordan. Should you ask someone how they want to be encouraged? Because when my son was growing up, I would try to encourage him, but he wasn't into the positivity. He didn't get motivated by that. He didn't love it just from a place of where he was for some reason. My daughter loved it. Son, not so much. Now my son loves encouragement. Back then, I would say he didn't. So should you ask someone, how do you want to be encouraged?
Yes, I think we should. I've had to learn this kind of the hard way. I got married, Jon, years ago. My wife, her love language is acts of service and gifts. My love language is words of affirmation and physical touch. And so when we got married, like a lot of men, I showed her love the way that I wanted to receive love. So I'd hug her all the time. I'd tell her she looked beautiful. I appreciate you. I'm so lucky to be married to you. And she wouldn't feel loved. And she would say that. Like, we get in a conversation like, you just don't love me well. I just don't feel loved by you. And I'm like, I have done everything I can. Like, I've told you 1,000 times. I've given you 1,200 hugs. I just don't feel loved. And then I noticed when I folded my laundry or did the dishes or folded her laundry or walked the dog or took out the trash, my wife felt loved, felt appreciated. And
she's like, you're so handsome right now, the way you're taking out that trash.
Yeah. It goes both ways, right? So we're still, but it is interesting because encouragement's really just love. I mean, it's all it is, just loving on people. And I think sometimes we think encouragement's really all about like words of affirmation, and it's not. It's so much more than that. In fact, I was dealing with something difficult recently, and I'll give Dale Mulliken a shout out. This guy that mentors me, disciples me, he's been an unbelievable friend. Has loved me so well. Very encouraging. Also, very candid. He's like you. The space between what he thinks and says is like not much, but he does it in love. So I'm struggling one day and I said, Dale, I just really need to be encouraged. He said, Jordan, I'm not going to encourage you. But what he was really saying is, I'm not going to encourage you in the way that you want to be encouraged. But then later that day, he showed up for me. He prayed for me. He checked in on me the next morning. I mean, he's been one of the most encouraging people in my life, but he's done it, with a different sort of style. And so I do think we got to pay attention to how people want to be loved. Let's not just love them the way that we receive love, but let's truly figure out like with Cole, like I love that. Cole's different than Jade and Jade's different than Catherine. And so it's like, I want to lean into people based on their style, their preference. And you got to get to know people in order to do that. And so at the end of the day, I think this comes back to how Jesus operated with people. Jesus was the master question asker. He really got to know people, wanted to understand people. And then because of that, he was the best encourager and friend and leader to ever walk the planet.
That's good. Think about my wife, my love language is food. Hers is, physical connection. And most guys would love that, to have their woman and their wife love physical connection. But sometimes, Jordan, I just want a pot roast. Sometimes I just want some food, And my wife and I have this joke. I'm like, honey, I know you want to hug me right now. But I'm just really hungry. Just want some food.
Well, listen, I would give up a lot of food.
I just shared that, everyone, but you know what? I just shared it. Jordan's going, I can't believe Jon just shared that. But Kath and I are very real, and it's we write about that in Relationship Grit, And so when you see my wife, just say, hey, have you made Jon a pot roast lately? That's what I want you to ask her. Have you made Jon some food? Jewish mom growing up, you just want some food.
I can't wait to ask Catherine about that. That's great. You guys are real. You do keep it real.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, where can people find out more about the art of encouragement?
I'm not going to be able to carry on and focus. There's a landing page of the book. It's the artofencouragementbook.com. The Art of Encouragement Book.
This is great. Hey, Bugs, this is a real live laughter right now. And then
I got tears.
I love this. Art of Encouragement book. The website is?
The landing page is the artofencouragementbook.com. The website's montgomerycompanies.com. Send us a DM. I would love to get a copy of the book in your hands. And
never happened before ever. This is a great moment.
I love it. Hey, it's Friday afternoon.
Jordan, real quick, talk about the launch of this book in Iowa, because one of my favorite places on earth is Iowa, and the people there are awesome. So talk about that.
Well, you're well known and well liked everywhere, but the people of Iowa have a special love for Jon Gordon. I have to mention this. You were in Minnesota trying to get down to Iowa for a recent event that we did, I don't know, a couple years ago, right? And so you put something on Twitter and you're like, hey, I guess it's X now, right? But you put something on X and it was like, I'm trying to get to Iowa. Like, somebody be kind enough to give me a ride. And literally some guy from Iowa was like, you could just have my truck. And you're like, well, yeah, but then how would I get it back to you? He's like, just keep the truck. You just have it. It's like, this is some kind of strange love for Jon Gordon. So I think you're coming. I just would mean the world to have you there. You just mentioned that to me recently to come to support. Oh yeah.
I'm planning on being there on the August 23rd is the day, right?
So cool of you. August 23rd. And John Maxwell is going to be there. And we're going to talk about the art of encouragement. We're going to talk about high road leadership, John's new book. And I know he's a dear friend to you as well. So we're going to have, I don't know, maybe 800 people or so who, love personal development, love leadership, want to learn, want to grow. When you do an event in Iowa, everybody shows up because it's not Chicago or LA. So we love the state of Iowa. We love bringing people like you to the state of Iowa. Good-hearted people, and we just want to give them everything we've got. So 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. if you want to come. There's a VIP event. I think you'll be a part of that, John, from 1 to 2. Spend some time with Jon Gordon, with Jon Maxwell, hang out with us. We'd love for you to be encouraged, but also to learn and grow with 800 awesome people in Iowa on August 23rd.
What is the release date of the book?
July 24th is the release date. Okay. So it's coming up. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, when you listen to this podcast, the book will have been released. So then you can, if you're interested in coming to Jordan's event, definitely come to Iowa. Even if you live in another state, come there. And again, what's the website again, Jordan, to get the book?
Yeah, it's the artofencouragementbook.com. I couldn't get that out because we were talking about and then
we were laughing too much.
And we're active on social media. Send us a DM, but we'd love for you to order the book, go to Amazon. It'd mean the world to us. We just want to reach and impact as many people as we can.
This is your first book?
First book. Yeah, first book. You challenged me to write a book years ago, and here we finally did it. So
it's a big deal. No, it really is a big deal to have your first book. And you know what? You could have written a book 10 years ago, but you weren't ready or you didn't want to yet. And you waited and you waited and you waited. And you didn't do it then because you know what? You knew you weren't ready yet, but now you know there's something to say and there's something that people need to hear. And that's what's great about it. Like, you don't write a book just to write a book. You write a book because you know you are here to say something to say that's meaningful and people need to hear it. And so that's what I love. I love your intention behind this book, your heart behind this book, and the way you're approaching it. So guys, there's a lot of books out there. I know they're being put out there, not necessarily for the right reasons, but Jordan's book is out there for the right reason. And it's really meant to encourage so many people. So hope you read it and hope you check out Jordan's event. And we hope to see you all soon. And if you see Jordan, he will encourage you. And so will I. And also let's laugh together. All right. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Let's do it, man. Hey, I love you, John. I appreciate you so much.
All right. God bless you, my brother.
Hey, thank you so much for listening, friends, to that conversation with Jon Gordon on the art of encouragement. If you want to order the book today for pre-sale, it's available. Go to theartofencouragementbook.com. That's theartofencouragementbook.com. You can order a copy. We'd love it if you'd spread this message to your friends, to your family. It helps us move our mission of impact forward. Also, want to give a shout out to our producers, John Cho, James Roth at Storyline Multimedia. Thank you for all that you do behind the scenes. Thanks to our sponsor, Thompson & Co. And thanks to you, the listener, for tuning in today. We hope that you got better as a leader personally, professionally, and in your everyday life. God bless you. Hope you'll join us again real soon.